Hello. Rewoo, rewoo. Oh, it has started. The stream has officially began. We all see the title. We all know what this is about. Let me first turn back my Minecraft volume a little bit. Okay. Let me see if this is a little overwhelming on your side. And no, it does not appear to be. I'm gonna lower the sound of all these spiders. I'll kill these pests very shortly. I was currently AFK farming for spiders while I was setting all this up. That's a very loud noise I hear outside. I hope that does not interrupt the stream. Okay, so I was thinking, what do people on the internet lack the understanding of the outside world? So I decided to talk about my experience of the outside world. I have a page next to me with uh with some notes based on certain experiences I've had before. Now, I'm gonna try talking about these in more appropriately in the order of when they happened. So I'm going to first highlight the clay floor. Actually, no. Let's start with one of the most interesting things. This is more of an embarrassing story. Let's start with probably the, one of no, this is probably one of the more interesting stories. So one day I was going on a walk in the park. Oh, by the way, most of these stories take place in the park itself. It's more like me, so I'm like alone in these situations. And I'm out in the park and I'm vibing. I then see this fenced up area and I'm like, okay, this is a little cool area. I'm just gonna go chill in it. I go inside, and then once I go inside, I close the door, I close the little fence, and then it just snaps shut. I'm like, oh shit. I look over, the door is locked. I cannot get out. And then I start freaking. I'm like, oh no, this sucks. And I kind of hypothesize certain ideas on how to get out of this predicament. First, I think about jumping over the fence, as everyone else would. But then I realized the fence is like multiple. It's my height and like an extra half of my entire height, and I'm 6 foot, so it's probably like 9 feet tall. Actually, I don't know if that's correct. It was a decent bit taller than me, but that I didn't consider that much of an issue. But what was an issue is that every time I put my foot inside the hole, every time I put my foot inside the gaps in between the fences, my shoes would like bend, like my shoe would bend back because my feet can't fit through. So then I took off my shoes and I tried climbing it that way. But what happened is that like it put a lot of pressure on a certain part of my feet and it just started to hurt. So I was like, this ain't working out. And then I realized that if I eventually got all the way to the top of the fence, there would be a slim chance that I would crush my nuts. And I was terrified of that idea. So I'm like, you know what? Jumping over the fence ain't happening. Firstly, my feet are gonna feel like shit. I'm probably gonna slip because my shoes are gonna bend. Or even worse, I crush my nuts. And even if I hypothetically made it up there without crushing my nuts, I'd have to jump down, and that wouldn't be that much of a concern. But getting to that point would have been difficult already. So I decided jumping over the fence was not the optimal idea. I then looked at a garbage can, and I'm like, wait a second. If I can just climb over it and somehow like land like on the trash can, I can like lessen the impact of the fall. You know what I mean? But then I realized there's a chance I could get like stuck in the trash can somehow. I don't know. And also, I would still have the issue of crushing my nuts. So I was like, this isn't the most elaborate solution. But luckily, grace struck itself. I saw a very big stick. The stick was pretty meaty. It looked like it could have easily been from a tree from a while ago. The issue was there was not many trees nearby. Like there's a lot of trees in the area, but like near the fenced up gate, like there was nothing here. And by the way, I think I should specify this. This is all public. This is all public. Like I'm in a public place. It's like a park, but no one goes to the park anymore. So like like it's a public area, but there's no one there. But then with this big branch, what I do is they're like it's kind of clamped up. Like it's not like a padlock or anything. Like I enter it and like as I enter, like this hook like claws itself onto the door. So like I'm like, what if I wedge this piece of this giant stick in between and like weaken its grip so that eventually it could loosen itself and I leave. So I started doing it, and I grabbed this massive stick, and I was just pulling it back and forth. I was like, my goodness gracious. While of course I was listening to Rick and Morty, I came to that, I came to a specific spot to chill and watch Rick and Morty. But unfortunately, I got stuck, and I couldn't watch Rick and Morty for a bit because I had to figure out how to get out. So after doing that for a short bit, I I I kind of got a little, I was getting a little desperate because the progress was being made. The door was loosening its grip a bit, but it was pretty insignificant. Like I could tell that it was weakening, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, I can open it. I was still unsure if it was even possible for me to open it because the progress was so limited, and like it wasn't I wasn't making enough progress, and it didn't seem like the progress was gonna help me in any sort of way. So I was kind of worried about that. And then eventually this woman walked over and she's like, "Yo, do you need help?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I wonder why you ask." And then we were like, "Okay, please let me out." And she like fiddled. She did. By the way, she knows nothing as well. She doesn't know anything about this fence. She just fucked around with the handles and stuff until eventually it popped open, and then like I got out. And I asked her how she did that, and she says, "I have no idea." And I'm like, "My goodness gracious, I could have been stuck there for a very long time." And that's the story of that specific adventure. I then walked home immediately afterward because I didn't want to stay in the park any longer after that. But da 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 da. But yeah, that's the basic part of that specific story. Let me go enchant my book. I'm at level 31, so I might as well. Oh, protection. Yes, that's good. Oh my goodness, another one? Well, I guess we're gonna take that. Steel! The following two. Okay. And okay, now let me look back at my notebook. Let me crush out the locked fence story. Hmm. You know what? This is a bit of a childlike story. Actually, I'm gonna categorize these as me acting like a dumb child. I'm gonna talk about those stories next. So first, everyone knows the playground. You know, with the equipment, the seesaw. You know, the classics really. And in these classics, we have monkey bars. It's common. So what I do sometimes is first off, I make sure there's no kids nearby because I kind of feel weird playing in the playground with when there's kids there. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. If there's kids there, the kids use it. Like they have the rights. They're the children. This is what they're made for. But if there's no kids there, I'm like, I'm just gonna fuck around with the playground equipment. But I don't like do things like I don't hardcore use the equipment. Like I don't be like wee and use it. I just walk around the equipment. I just walk around like the little set, and I'm like, yo, this is like when I was 7. This is sick. Stuff like that generally. I'm gonna go get this string over here. And while I was there, I just messed around a bit. I also, the most important part of the story is that while I was going on the playground set, I was like, let me just try the monkey bars. Like I'm not physically fit enough to do the monkey bars proficiently, but I thought it'd be fun to do it. So I went on the monkey bars and I went down and I fell almost immediately. But when I fell, I was sitting straight up. My hands were still on the monkey bars and I was sitting straight up. I have reached a point where I'm so far away from the average child that I can just walk across the monkey bars while continuously holding the grip. That's how far I've come since childhood. It's horrific. Now let me go look for the Fletchers. I want to get these string trades here. Also, you guys may be wondering why I'm doing mostly story-based stuff recently. Well, I personally think that's the best way for me to do this because I think that having a bit of a plan before the stream is the best way to like make sure you have cohesive thoughts because before sometimes I kind of just say random stuff at the moment and it kind of just doesn't work out. Unless I have a set idea, like I got a VR headset I got a VR headset ever since school ended, and I'm thinking it'd be a cool idea if I play games on it. But like I don't know if that's gonna be difficult or not, so I wasn't sure about that idea. But I also like this story-based idea because that way I can just visually show my Minecraft, and you guys can just either not care or listen to it or listen to the stories or whatever. Because I know a friend of mine, he doesn't really watch the stream, he mostly watches it afterwards and listens to it. like whenever he goes on a walk or something. So that's the basic. That's basically it. Oh, another thing to point out is that sometimes when I go to the set, I sometimes swing in the swing set. It's pretty awesome because you see these kids swing in the swing set and they're like hardly going up, but I'm able to kick back and do these mad swings and show them who's boss. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's basically me wrecking kids and t showing them who's boss on the swing set since they don't know how to use it properly, unlike I, who's very proficient in it after 17 years. Okay. All right. I'm pretty sure that's it for the general playset. Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna talk anymore. I don't want to drag this on any longer. Playset. Let me cross that off the list. Oh, the clay floor. That's the next thing on the list. It's not really childlike. It's just something very interesting. I haven't touched this, by the way, so don't ask me what it feels like because I've been too scared to touch it. And probably today, I'm gonna go there and probably poke it with a stick to see what's up with that. But in the park, there's like little fenced up area. It's a different fenced up area. It's like it's fenced up, but there's no door. It's just open. Well, not really. It's like ripped open because there's like a. It seemed like it. Someone probably ripped through the fence at one point, and because of that, there's like a little hole that you can go inside this little area. So you don't have to worry about me getting locked in there. All right. So that's not a worry. What is a worry, however, is that in the middle of this area, this is like it looks like a clay floor. Like there's like grasses all over, and suddenly in the like around the center, there's like this patch. No grass, nothing like that, no dirt. It looks like this clay-like material, and it's like cracked inside. It's like hard clay, and it's just incredibly out of place because right next to it is dirt, like directly next to it. It just does not make sense whatsoever. Like I stepped on it with one foot just in case it falls apart and like nothing, it doesn't budge. Like you can shift it around a bit, but like that's basically it about it. I just want I'm just talking about it because I think it's very strange. And if anyone is a scientist or something and knows how that stuff works, the knowledge would be very useful. And that's mainly the clay floor. It's more like a science anomaly than anything. Okay, I have no sand. Da 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 da. Let me just check a few things. Oh, it has begun. Thick toilet. Hello. How long has it been? Da 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 da. It has been only about 12 minutes. All right. I'm gonna go back to Minecraft. So yeah, that's mostly it for the cliff. I'm not gonna. I don't. I want to prevent dragging things. So I feel like I feel as if I want to talk things as long as possible, like to extend the topic, but I feel like that's makes things more annoying. So I'm gonna try to prevent myself from doing that. Okay, let me just cross that out. Clay floor. Oh, the dog. Next is the dog. Okay, so I have a very reasonable fear of dogs. It's a very rational fear. You see, when I was around 7 years old. I got chased by a dog, and coincidentally this was at a park as well. This is a separate park than the one I usually visit, but it's still a park nonetheless. And in this park, there's like this the playground. Say, you all know parks. So I climbed the playground, so running away from this dog. I run for around 100 feet. Like this is a big chunky dog. Like this is a dog where I felt like this dog could have killed me. This dog could have killed me. I'm like, oh God. I'm running. And then I go into the playground set and the dog barks and I just chill. I'm like, fuck you. I ain't getting out of here. I'm my parents are gonna go give me granola bars while you're gonna be out here starving, alright? I'm gonna outdo your endurance, alright, bud? And that's generally well, that's not how it went. The dog didn't die. Eventually their owner came in and told them to stop doing that. And then like I think my dad carried me on his shoulders because I was like, fuck that. And yeah, that's basically it for dog. Actually, no, no, no. That wasn't the story about the dogs. That was just the story behind my fear of dogs. So this about in this specific park, there's a lot of fenced areas. You know this already. Like there's a lot of fenced areas. Most of it is free reign. You can easily get inside it. Some of it are some of these spots are tricky to get into, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to enter. But of course, there are a few hiccups, like when I decided to go into an area that was locked up. You know, we already talked about that. But this guy, I guess he brought his dogs over and he put them over over this little fence. This fenced up area you cannot get over at all. Like there's no clear entrance and stuff unless you climb over, which is already difficult enough. But like it's difficult generally, but it's not as hard as the other one because the fence is relatively short. Like like it's shorter than me. Like it's like below my shoulder, so I'm all good. Like it's not that hard to climb over, unlike the other one, which was extremely difficult. So this guy, he put his dogs on the other side of the fence, and they were just chilling there. And then I walk past them, and they one of them doesn't care much, but the other one starts barking like heck, like an insane chihuahua, and I'm like, my dude, chill. And they did not chill. They did not want to chill. That was like a language they could not speak. They refused to do this thing called chill. It was horrendous. And let me just whatever. I'll just put this here. And then oh, let me get sand. And the dogs, they were barking like heck. They beep, 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 beep. Of course. But dogs do that. Bugs have like some sort of mental disorder which makes them bark like hectic. And before anyone calls me out, I too have a mental disorder, so it's all good. It's all good. I am like the dogs. uh, I don't know if that was the right way to phrase that, but look, we're both little cuckoo bananas. So let me just check back on the stream really quickly. All right. So the issue with this dog is that I was walking across the fence. He has no way to get into me. The dog cannot jump over. Like this is a teeny tiny dog. I wasn't scared of this dog specifically. I just wanted to bring up that I was afraid of dogs. But like this dog's tiny. I'm not afraid of it. Worst case scenario, I have to punt the dog. I don't want to punt the dog, but if it's chasing after me, I'm gonna punt the dog. It's not my first. I'm not gonna charge up to it and punt it. It's more like a reactionary thing. It's like if dog chase me, then I punt. That's the situation. But it's not able to get to me. So I walk across the sidewalk, and the dog just chases me from the other side of the fence like and I'm like, my goodness gracious. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. I start making fun of the like, you can't get me, fuck you, little puppy whoopee, and stuff like that. I tease the dog. The dog doesn't understand English because it's a fucking dumbass. But like, I make fun of it because it's dumb. And then I chill around until eventually the dog gets far away from its owner. It starts thinking about running back. And I told it like, yeah, go back to your owner, little pup. Yeah, little pup. That's when you get scrub, and then I don't. It feels like the dog could like understand English for a few moments because I feel like the dog kind of felt like its pride was being tested at the moment, and I started chasing after me a bit more. Then well, chasing after me from the other side of the fence, it couldn't get to me, and then there was like this little gap. Like there was this one gap like below the fence, like the dirt kind of caved in. It was as if there was like a small little like a curve inside where like if the dog really wanted to, it was probably possible that he could crawl underneath and chase after me. Now this is when I got a little afraid. I'm like, oh no, this dog he could butcher me now. I realized that like I messed with the wrong pup at the wrong situation because this dog can now chase after me if he figures out they can get underneath there. So I'm like, so what do? I decide I just run the other direction so the dog just doesn't notice that little gap's there until eventually he gets scared about leaving behind his own and then just walk back. And that's my general encounter with that little pupper. There's sometimes dogs that come around here. Like it's very often people bring their dogs to the park, which there was this one specific day where there was like four groups of dogs and their dog owners going to the park, and it was really annoying because they left a bunch of shit landmines. Usually, I walk towards like the side, like sometimes like at situations like this, I don't know where to walk. I don't know if I should walk out in the open area because the dog owners are more would the dog owners care about leaving landmines in the middle of the walkway, or or are they gonna leave the landmines at the side? It's hard to tell, because inconsiderate dog owners would just leave them at the middle, but considerate ones would leave them at the side. So I have no idea where to go because I have to debate whether or not the people that go to this park are nice or not. And either way, if I make one false mistake, but like there could be some of them that leave landmines in the middle of the walkway, and some of them that leave it at the side. So like I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant regardless. So even if I'm going at what seems to be the safest possible route, it's never the safest possible route. There's always a chance I land on a landmine, and it sucks. Let me just before I could do talking, I just want to make more shovels. I'll make two. I'm shoveling a lot of sand here. All right. So yeah, that's the issue of those landmines and those puppers. That was only for one specific day. Dogs do come in pretty often, but like that one specific day, there was like a ton of them, and I got very paranoid. But I never stepped on dog poop before. Like I've done it before, but like in the park, I've never done it yet. Like I've stepped on it before on my way walking home from school one time, but that really did suck. One tip, if you ever get dog poop on your shoe, don't bother washing it with like a sink or something. That's a horrible idea. You don't want dog shit on your sink. What I did, which is debatably a bad idea, but like it feels like a bad idea, but nothing bad happened from it, so it must have been a good idea. That's my logic behind it. So what I did is I went outside, I got a hose, and I hosed the sole of my shoe, and it worked perfectly. Of course, if someone tripped and fell on the driveway, then they would fucking facepalm against dog shit, but that ain't my issue anymore. That's up to them, chief. And yeah, that's my basic situation. I had no dog shit in my shoes yet. Every once in a while, I get a little paranoid and I check my shoes, but currently no dog shit currently. No, I guess that's enough of dogs. That conversation lasted much longer than I would have anticipated. Now, what is next? Okay, I'll save the second most interesting story for last. First, let's talk about the cannon. In the park, they have a cannon in the center of it. This cannon is like an old school cannon. The issue is since it's old school cannon, it doesn't work. I tried tapping against a bunch of stuff. The cannon would not fire. And I looked inside, like after slapping the cannon a little bit, like trying to finesse it to see if it'll finally launch a sick projectile. I was like, okay, it ain't budging. So I decided, I'm like, screw it. I looked inside the barrel, which I know is a big no-no. I've learned from school that looking down the barrel of a gun is like the easiest way to accidentally shoot yourself. And I was like, screw it. If I'm gonna die by a firearm, it might as well be a cannon. So I looked on the barrel and there's nothing inside. I'm like, well, that makes sense. So I was like, okay. I guess no fun of the cannon for me, I suppose. Man, the town's pretty boring, not gonna lie. Like what like I think kids should have the opportunity to make a mistake like shooting a cannon so they can understand how much gravity their actions have. I think it's very good disciplining. I'm very good teaching, I suppose. It would do a very good job teaching kids the consequences of their actions by blowing up something. Yeah. Alright, continuing on. With this cannon, at one point I found this rubber ball. Like it wasn't rubber, it was more like a plastic ball. It was a blue plastic ball. And I'm like, yo, you know what this ball would be good for? The cannon. But big issue, the ball was too big and it could not fit inside inside the like the center like the front barrel of the cannon. So I was like, fuck. So I put it in the back and I showed it inside. I'm like, you know what? This is a little bit of a memento. If someone finds this blue ball inside of this cannon, then they know that this is my park. I don't own the park, but it's basically mine. Like I go there every day, so it's basically mine now. I have more ownership than the rest of the public, basically. That's how it works. I'm there more often, aka my property. I mean, let me go burn out the sand. Oh no, do I have enough? Oh no, 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 not sandstone, bro. I'm not burning up sandstone. I don't think I have enough sand. I do not have enough sand to use all the furnaces. Furno, I suppose, if you want to be a formal asshole, bruh. That was utterly useless. Okay, I guess I'll let those guys go and I'll continue getting sand later. Let me see, what was I talking about again? Oh, the cannon. Yeah, the cannon's pretty sick. Sometimes when I feel like acting awesome, I sit on top of the cannon and chill on top of it. And I sit there like with a very melancholy pose. I'm like, yeah, this is my cannon, you know, like it feels sick, like sitting on a cannon, you know. And it's not dangerous because like you know it doesn't work because I've already tried using it. So like I know it doesn't work, so like there's no issue. I apologize. I have to focus on this creeper. There's like I have a very bad history of dying by creepers. I have to make sure these guys are eradicated before they solid snake me. And I don't know much about solid snake. I think he explodes people when he touches them. I don't know. Dummy. Okay, let's continue. I'm pretty sure that's it with the cannon. The cannon's probably one of the first few things I noticed when I first went back to the park. Like I usually don't go toward the area where the cannon is. There's like in the park at the very back of the park. There's like this hill, and on this hill, that's where the cannons are. That's where the cannon is. There's only one, but that's also where the guys with the dogs come in. Like on top of this little hill. It's kind of nice because you can oversee the entire park from there. But the park isn't that big, so it's like not that big of a deal. But it's so cool. Ugh, my neck is aching, paking. I think it's because I'm leaning too much. I'm leaning too much forward. Oh, I'm gonna check with the couples at the park. So in the park, I guess this park is like a love nest. I don't know what's up, but people, I see couples going there all the time. Like sometimes they sit like in front of the hill, and sometimes they sit at the benches around it. But it's very common to see couples over there. One time I saw them smooching. I'm like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't be here, but this is this is a public place, and I also feel like I have partial ownership of this area, so I feel like I'm in the right here to like not give a shit that they're making out. I'm just not gonna bother. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And then afterward, I look back at the bench they were sitting at, and they have like a sign saying like blank and blank. I forgot their names. They were here like with a heart emoji. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. But I kind of debated, like, I didn't have a marker on me, but I kind of debated adding my name onto it too, since I kind of have like partial experience in the matter since I was there too. I wasn't watching them. I kind of left them. I went to like the playground area because I kind of didn't want to watch two people make out. So yeah, but like when I came back, I saw that like they had that sign. I'm like, you know what? Wouldn't it be awesome and epic if I put my name there too? Like, let's be real here. Like, that would be the ultimate troll. And that's the couples are not very interesting at the park. The couples don't do much. Well, they do kiss a lot, but like they just chill there. I just thought it was fun pointing that out because I really like that story where like I was with that specific couple. I thought that was funny. So I was like, that's a funny story. So yeah, 10 sand. Oh, good. I have no sand. Iron pine. I'm using all my. Oh no, I have more here. Bruh. Okay. I apologize. When I'm crafting or something like this, I feel like I have to like focus for some odd reason. It's a bit of an issue. That's why I'm doing these stories. That way I can like practice talking about different things other than the game at once. That way I'm kind of better at doing this sort of stuff. But I think I'm doing a mediocre job currently, but it'll get better, I hope. No. Now that the concept of couples is off the table, we're gonna talk about sticks. Sticks, we love them. Sticks are sick. We slap shit with them. What happens is that with these parks, we got these massive trees, and there's sometimes smaller trees. What you can do, what happens is that there's sticks on the floor, and what do you do with sticks? You pick them up and slash shit with them. There was sometimes before I leave the park, I grab a big stick and I walk home with the stick and I start slapping random trees on my way back. It feels awesome. And sometimes depending on the way you grip it, it's like pretending you're gripping on a different type of weapon. Like if I grip it like a katana, I'm like holding a katana katana stick. It's sick. Or like if I hold it with two hits and like swing it up and down, it's like a katana greatsword. It's all well, not katana, but like stick greatsword. You know what I mean? It's sick and it's awesome. So like I slap shit with the stick. Of course I don't slap like houses and stuff. That I could get in trouble for that. But like slapping trees, no one's gonna whine about some trees. Also, no one's gonna whine about that cannon. No one cares about that cannon other than me anyway. So like it's fine if I slap it a little bit with a stick. And that's generally it. I also poke stuff with the stick. I haven't seen that area in a while. Like I haven't visited that area of the park. But if I had a stick with me, I would have poked it. I think I did, but I don't remember. It wasn't with a big stick. It was like with a little one, I think. I don't remember. I don't remember any of these details. But yeah, but that's my deal with sticks. It's awesome, and you can slap shit with them. That's the lesson to be learned here. Da 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 da. Now that's who sticks. Now the one of the more interesting stories. This has less to do with me and more to do with the circumstance itself. So I was chilling to the park, and I suddenly see this entire film crew in the park, like, specifically the playground area where the basketball nets are. I'm like, whoa, why do these guys have cameras, and what's going on here? And I go here, I chill, and I see this crew here. They're like going back and forth. They're talking to each other. And I'm like, whoa, these guys are like doing something film related. So I walk up to them like, what's this? And like, oh, we're filming an ad. I'm like, yo, that's awesome. And they tell me about the ad they're filming at the company, which I will not tell for the sake of the secrecy of this park. I've said a lot about this park, but like I think it's enough that like no one, I think very few people can like connect the dots because no one goes to the damn park. No one go, like in general, no one goes to the park. So I think I'm solid. I'm Gucci. But that was the film crew, and it was pretty interesting because I saw a bunch of kids with the equipment that they were advertising. I'm gonna be very careful with my wording, and I saw them like fucking around with them. Like this is some sick ad, and then I see people walking around with film crews, and I see these people like I think they're actors wearing these sort of like waiter uniforms. I'm like, I don't know what this ad's gonna be about, but it seems like it's gonna be very hip fresh. I'm thinking, I don't know how long it takes to make an ad, but like I think in a year or maybe a few months, I'm gonna go check back on the idea. And I think that's it. That's all my sick stories about going outside. I have a bunch of ideas like this, but of course, since these ideas are a little more narrow, and since I've only been like going on walks like this for like around a month, I don't have that many interesting stories. But this is the general gist of it. I'm just gonna go. I think it's best to leave now, mostly because I need to use the bathroom, and secondly because my neck feels like a piece of shit. I think I've been fucking it up too much. Let me go like disconnect for a moment so I don't die. How long was the stream in total? 30 minutes? Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine in dealing with it like I'm fine having it like that. Okay. I'm gonna be quiet for a few moments and then I'm gonna end stream because I don't want to suddenly like cut it off because sometimes when I end stream it just cuts off a few moments earlier, so I'm just gonna leave, I guess, for like a minute and then turn it off. Okay. Uh, have a very blessed day, everyone. Go outside and see ya.